The blood drained from Jason's face as he stared at the empty safe. 3 years of collecting rare diamonds, his entire fortune gone. He slammed his fist against the wall, but froze when he heard a small voice behind him. "I can open it for you, mister, but I need a daddy first." But no one imagined what would come next. We'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop it in the comments and hit that like button for more incredible stories of unexpected connections. The security alarm blared through the mansion as Jason Pierce sprinted up the marble staircase. At 32, he was one of America's youngest self-made billionaires, but right now, panic coursed through his veins. He punched in his code to the master bedroom's hidden panel, 1987. Nothing. The steel door remained locked. "Damn it, Victoria!" he shouted, slamming his palm against the wall. His ex-fiancée had changed the combination to his high-security vault, the one containing his collection of rare diamonds worth $998 million, his entire fortune liquidated after selling his tech company. He tried again. Nothing. After 10 years together, their engagement had imploded just 3 days ago when he discovered Victoria had been secretly transferring company assets to offshore accounts. Now, she had taken revenge in the most devastating way possible. His phone rang. Victoria's smug face lit up the screen. "Missing something, darling?" Her voice dripped with venom. "Victoria, open the vault, now!" Jason's voice was dangerously low. "I don't think so. Consider this. Compensation for all those years I wasted with you. Those diamonds are documented. You'll never sell them without—" "Oh, Jason, always thinking inside the box. There are buyers who don't care about documentation. I'm meeting one tomorrow. Goodbye, billionaire boy." She hung up. Jason hurled his phone across the room, watching it shatter against the wall. He'd called his security team, but the system was military-grade, installed by the same specialist who protected royal families. A 6-digit code with over 1 million combinations, changing every wrong attempt. Even the manufacturer would need weeks to override it. As darkness fell, Jason sat on the floor outside the vault, head in his hands. His lawyer had warned him. Victoria wouldn't be entitled to anything without a marriage certificate. She must have planned this for months. A soft tapping echoed from downstairs, probably the wind against the French doors. Then he heard it again, more deliberate this time. Jason grabbed a golf club from his bag and cautiously descended the stairs. In the moonlight streaming through the windows, he saw a small figure at the glass door. A child? He flicked on the exterior lights to reveal a little girl, no older than 7, with tangled brown hair and a dirty backpack. Her small hand raised in a tentative wave. Against his better judgment, Jason cracked open the door. "What are you doing here?" he asked, baffled. His estate was miles from the nearest neighborhood, surrounded by security fencing. "I need help," the girl said simply, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, I'm really cold." There was something in her eyes, a tiredness no child should possess, that made Jason step aside. She walked in, her sneakers leaving dusty prints on his imported Italian marble. "Where are your parents?" he asked, setting down the golf club. "My dad died 3 months ago." Her voice was matter-of-fact, as if discussing the weather. "Mum left when I was a baby. I've been staying with my aunt, but she doesn't want me anymore." Jason ran a hand through his hair. "I need to call the police or child services or—" "Please don't." The girl's eyes widened in fear. "They'll just put me in the system. I've heard stories." "What's your name?" Jason asked, softening his tone. "Lily. Lily Anderson." She looked around the massive foyer. "You have a really big house." "I'm Jason," he replied, still stunned by this surreal intrusion into his crisis. "Lily, how did you get past the security gate?" She shrugged. "There was a hole under the fence by the big oak tree. I'm good at finding ways in." Jason made a mental note to fire his security team. First the vault, now this. A child had breached his supposedly impenetrable estate. "You look sad," Lily observed, studying his face. "Is it because someone took something from you?" Jason stared at her. "How could you possibly know that?" "Your eyes. My dad had the same look when Mom took his favorite watch when she left." For the first time in days, Jason felt a glimmer of something besides rage and panic, curiosity. "I can help you," Lily said, straightening her small shoulders. "But I need something first." "Help me?" Jason couldn't help but laugh. "Kid, unless you're a master safecracker, I doubt that." "I'm good with numbers," Lily said, unfazed by his dismissal. "Really good. My dad said I was a genuine prod-eye guy." She carefully pronounced the word, obviously treasured praise from her late father. Jason poured himself a glass of scotch, briefly considering the absurdity of his situation. His billions were locked behind an impenetrable door. His ex was about to vanish with his life's work, and now a runaway child was offering assistance. "What did you mean you need something first?" he asked, more to humor her than anything else. Lily's eyes met his, startlingly direct. "I need a home, a dad." She clutched her backpack straps tightly. "I can't go back to my aunt. She drinks the bad drinks that make grown-ups mean." Jason nearly choked on his scotch. "You want me to? Adopt you? In exchange for safe-cracking services? That's not how it works." "Why not?" Lily challenged. "You need help. I need a family." "A deal, because I'd be arrested for kidnapping, for starters," Jason replied, "and because children aren't bargaining chips." "I won't tell anyone I'm here if you don't," Lily said with unsettling pragmatism. "Just let me try. If I can't help, you can call whoever you want tomorrow." Before Jason could respond, his phone rang, his backup phone since he'd destroyed his primary one. His attorney, Michael. "They've frozen your accounts," Michael said without preamble. "Victoria filed an emergency injunction claiming emotional distress. Judge Harmon, her uncle, conveniently enough, signed off on it an hour ago." "She can't do that," Jason hissed, aware of Lily's curious eyes on him. "She just did. Without access to those diamonds, you're effectively broke until we can get this overturned, which could take weeks. Your offshore accounts are flagged for suspicious activity, her doing, I'm sure." After ending the call, Jason sank into a chair. He was suddenly asset-rich but cash-poor, unable to even hire specialized help for the vault. Victoria had planned this meticulously, striking when he was most vulnerable after the company sale. "Was that about the bad lady?" Lily asked. Jason looked up, startled. "How do you—" "I'm good at listening too," Lily said with a small shrug. "Can I see what needs opening?" With nothing to lose, Jason led Lily upstairs to the vault door. The sleek panel glowed with a red light, taunting him with each failed attempt. "Victoria changed the combination," he explained. "There are 1,000,000 possible combinations, and it changes the sequence if you get it wrong." Lily placed her small hand on the cool metal surface. "What was the code before?" 1987, the year I was born." Lily nodded thoughtfully. "What's her birthday?" "March 12th, 1990. "What else is important to her?" Jason thought about the woman he'd spent a decade with, now realizing how little he truly knew her. "She has a weird thing about prime numbers, always plays them in the lottery." Something flickered in Lily's eyes. "Can I try something?" Jason gestured helplessly at the keypad. "Be my guest." Lily stood on her tiptoes, studying the pad with intense concentration. Then, with surprising confidence, she pressed 3-1-2-1-9-0. The light remained red. "Her birthday backwards," she explained, biting her lip in thought. She tried again, 1990. Still nothing. "Wait," Jason said, a memory surfacing. "She always said her lucky number was 17. Her first modeling contract came on the 17th. Lily nodded, then carefully pressed 173-1290. The panel beeped and the light turned green. There was a heavy click as the locks disengaged. Jason stared in disbelief as the vault door swung open, revealing rows of glass cases containing his diamond collection, each stone unique, each worth millions. How did you do that?" he whispered. 17 is a prime number," Lily said simply. "And it's a way to make the code harder. Most people use birthdays or years, but she'd make it special, different. Dad taught me about combinations when we played detective games." Jason looked at this remarkable child with new eyes. "Lily, you just saved my entire fortune." The little girl smiled, but there was sadness in it. "So, can I stay?" "Just for tonight." Before he could answer, a thunderous pounding came from downstairs. Jason froze, then moved to the security monitor by his bed. Police cruisers lined his driveway. "NYPD, open the door." Victoria stood beside the officers, crocodile tears streaming down her perfect face. "She's accusing me of something," Jason muttered, pieces falling into place. "That's why she called earlier, to record me threatening her." "Is there another way out?" Lily whispered, fear evident in her voice. Jason looked from the diamonds to the child who had just saved him from financial ruin. He made a split-second decision. "Yes," he said, grabbing a duffel bag from his closet, "and we're both taking it." Jason worked with practiced efficiency, selecting only the most valuable and least traceable diamonds, ones without laser inscriptions or distinct characteristics that would flag international databases. He stuffed them into a black duffel bag alongside emergency cash from the vault's hidden compartment. "We need to hurry," he told Lily, who watched wide-eyed as millions of dollars disappeared into the bag. Victoria's smart, but she made one critical mistake. "What's that?" Lily asked, nervously glancing toward the hallway where police voices grew louder. "She doesn't know about the tunnel." Jason pressed a sequence on a different panel behind his dresser, revealing a narrow passageway. This estate belonged to a Prohibition-era businessman. He built escape routes for his less-than-legal activities. As the pounding on the front door intensified, Jason grabbed Lily's hand. "Stay close to me." The tunnel was low-ceilinged and dimly lit by emergency lighting. Lily clutched Jason's hand tightly as they navigated the narrow passage, her breath coming in quick, frightened bursts. "Are we in trouble?" she whispered. "Victoria's the one in trouble," Jason replied grimly. "She's committing fraud, theft, and false reporting, but right now we need distance and time." After what seemed like miles but was probably only a few hundred yards, they emerged through a hidden door into a small, nondescript garage containing a single vehicle, a 15-year-old Honda Accord. "This doesn't look like your car," Lily observed, as Jason unlocked it with a key. Not a key fob, just an ordinary metal key. "It's not registered to me," Jason explained, helping her into the passenger seat. "It belonged to my groundskeeper who retired last year. I kept it as a backup off all my official records." As they pulled away, taking back roads to avoid the main highway, Jason glanced at Lily. In the chaos, he'd almost forgotten the absurdity of their arrangement. A billionaire and a runaway child, both fugitives for entirely different reasons. "We need to get you back to your family," Jason said firmly. "I appreciate your help, but kidnapping is a serious crime." "You didn't kidnap me," Lily countered. "I came to you. And I don't have any family left who wants me." "What about your aunt? We could report her for—" "She's not really my aunt," Lily interrupted, looking down at her worn sneakers. "She was my dad's girlfriend. After he died, she let me stay for a while, but then she said I reminded her too much of him, and it hurt too bad." Jason fell silent, processing this new information. "Where have you been staying since then?" Lily's silence told him everything. This child had been homeless, surviving on her own, while adults failed her at every turn. "2 nights in the park," she finally admitted. "Then I saw your house on the hill. It looked safe." The irony wasn't lost on Jason. His supposedly secure mansion had been anything but safe tonight. As they approached the outskirts of New York City, Jason pulled into a 24-hour diner. "We need to eat and make a plan." Inside, Lily devoured a stack of pancakes while Jason made a call from the payphone near the restrooms, one of the few remaining in the digital age. "Michael, it's me, using a secure line. Victoria set me up. She's filed false charges claiming I threatened her. The police were at the mansion." His attorney's voice was grave. "It's worse than that, Jason. She's saying you stole the diamonds from her family collection, claims they were gifted to her by her grandmother, and you've been keeping them from her. She has paperwork, forged, obviously, but convincing enough for a preliminary investigation." "That's impossible. I have certificates of authentication, purchase records, all digital, all stored on your company's servers, which mysteriously crashed an hour ago. Complete data loss. Your cloud backups were also compromised." Jason leaned against the wall, the true scale of Victoria's betrayal becoming clear. This wasn't an impulsive act of revenge. This was a meticulously orchestrated plan, years in the making. "What about the police at my house? What are the charges?" "Domestic disturbance for now, but she's building towards something bigger." "Jason, who's the child with you in the security footage?" "Victoria's showing police images of a girl entering your property." Jason froze, watching Lily through the window as she carefully wiped syrup from her plate with a final piece of pancake. "A complication," he replied carefully. "Michael, I need you to look into something else. Search for records of a man named Anderson who died about 3 months ago, probably in New York. He had a daughter named Lily, about 7 years old." After ending the call, Jason returned to the table. Lily looked up at him with those unnervingly perceptive eyes. "Are you sending me away now?" she asked quietly. Jason should say yes. Every logical part of his brain screamed to distance himself from this child, to focus on clearing his name and reclaiming his life. Instead, he said, "Not yet. First, we need to find somewhere safe to stay while we figure things out, for both of us." Lily's small smile was like the sun breaking through clouds. "I knew you were a good person. That's why I picked your house." As they left the diner, Jason didn't have the heart to tell her that her faith was misplaced. Until 3 days ago, he'd been exactly like Victoria, focused solely on wealth accumulation, viewing people as assets or obstacles. The only difference was that he'd drawn a line at outright criminality. But something had shifted when he looked into Lily's trusting eyes. For the first time in his adult life, Jason Pierce felt responsible for someone other than himself. The motel on the outskirts of Scranton, Pennsylvania, wasn't much, a far cry from Jason's usual 5-star accommodations, but it accepted cash and didn't ask questions. Room 17, a coincidence that made Lily smile despite their circumstances. While Lily showered, washing away days of grime, Jason turned on the small TV. His face filled the screen, alongside Lily's grainy image from his security footage. Millionaire Jason Pierce is wanted for questioning regarding alleged threats against his former fiancée, Victoria Lancaster, and the suspicious presence of an unidentified minor at his residence, the news anchor reported. Lancaster, daughter of Senator William Lancaster, claims Pierce became unstable after their recent breakup. Jason muted the TV as Lily emerged in an oversized T-shirt he'd bought at a roadside store, her wet hair combed neatly. "That's me on TV," she observed calmly, climbing onto one of the twin beds. "Lily, we need to talk," Jason said, sitting across from her. "The police are looking for both of us. They think I've taken you." "But I found you," she insisted. "I can tell them that. It's not that simple. Your father, what was his full name?" "Daniel Anderson. He was a math teacher at Westbrook Elementary." Jason nodded, making mental notes. "And your mother?" Lily's expression darkened. "Dad said she left when I was a baby. Her name was Sarah, I think." He didn't like talking about her. "Is there anyone else who might be looking for you? Grandparents? Other relatives?" Lily shook her head. Dad said it was just us against the world. Jason's phone buzzed, his emergency burner. Michael's text was brief. Daniel Anderson, 42, died of heart attack 3 months ago. No living relatives located. Daughter Lillian, 7, placed with temporary guardian Rebecca Collins, who reported her missing 4 days ago. Amber alert issued. Jason's stomach dropped. The situation was worse than he'd thought. Not only was he running from fraud charges, but he was now traveling with a missing child who had an active Amber alert. "Lily," he said carefully, "your guardian Rebecca reported you missing. There's an alert out for you." "She doesn't want me back," Lily said with certainty. "She just doesn't want to get in trouble. Regardless, we need to sort this out properly. I can hire the best child advocates, make sure you're placed somewhere safe." "No!" Lily's voice rose in panic. "Please don't send me away. I helped you. We made a deal." "Lily, I can't just keep you. That's not how it works, even if what?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Even if I want to stay with you. Even if I have nowhere else to go." Jason ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "Even if I wanted you to stay," he admitted finally, "I'm a disaster right now. Victoria has systematically destroyed my life, and I'm a fugitive. What kind of home is that for a child?" Lily was silent for a long moment, her small fingers tracing patterns on the bedspread. "My dad always said home isn't a place, it's people who look out for each other." She looked up, meeting his gaze. "You looked out for me. You didn't have to take me with you." The weight of responsibility settled heavily on Jason's shoulders. Before he could respond, his burner phone buzzed again. "Victoria just held press conference," Michael's message read, "claiming you embezzled from company before sale. Use proceeds for diamond collection. SEC investigating. Freezing all assets. Need you to surrender or face federal charges." Jason's blood ran cold. Victoria wasn't just trying to steal his diamonds. She was systematically erasing everything he'd built, painting him as a criminal while positioning herself as the victim. "Bad news?" Lily asked, watching his face. "Victoria's very angry with me," Jason said, understating the situation dramatically. "Is she your girlfriend, ex-fiancée? We were supposed to get married, but then I found out she was stealing from me." Lily considered this. "So she's a bad person." Jason thought about Victoria, beautiful, brilliant Victoria, who had been his partner in both business and life for a decade. Had there been warning signs? In hindsight, perhaps. Her obsession with status, her casual cruelty to service staff, her disdain for what she called the ordinary people. "I think she wasn't always bad," Jason replied honestly. "But somewhere along the way she decided that having more was more important than being good." "Like a villain origin story," Lily nodded sagely. "In my comics, villains always have a reason they turn bad." Despite everything, Jason smiled. "That's an apt comparison." Lily yawned, the events of the day catching up with her. "Are we safe here?" "For tonight," Jason assured her, though he wasn't certain. "Get some sleep. We'll figure things out in the morning." As Lily drifted off, Jason sat by the window, contemplating their next move. His instinct was to run, take the diamonds, flee to a country with no extradition treaty, start over. But now there was Lily to consider, a child who, against all odds, had placed her trust in him. His phone buzzed once more. This time, it wasn't Michael, but a news alert. "Breaking! Evidence suggests Pierce may have harmed missing child Lillian Anderson. Police upgrade to highest priority search." Jason stared at Lily's peaceful sleeping form, then back at his phone. Victoria was escalating things, making him not just a thief, but a potential child abuser or worse. For the first time, Jason realized he wasn't just fighting for his fortune or his reputation. He was fighting for Lily's safety and future as well. Carefully, so as not to wake her, Jason took one of the diamonds from his duffel bag, a flawless blue stone worth at least $30 million, and placed it in a small plastic bag. Whatever happened next, he would need resources, and this would be his insurance policy. Dawn arrived with a pounding at their motel room door. Jason jolted awake from his uncomfortable position in the chair, momentarily disoriented. Lily was still asleep, curled into a tight ball beneath the thin blanket. "Housekeeping!" called a voice with a thick Eastern European accent. Jason checked his watch, 6:30 a.m., far too early for cleaning service. He approached the door cautiously, peering through the peephole. A woman in a maid's uniform stood outside, but something about her posture seemed off. Her hand rested near her hip in a way that suggested concealment. "We don't need service," Jason called through the door. The woman's expression hardened. "Mr. Pierce, please open the door. FBI." Jason's heart raced. He'd left no trail, paid cash, used no ID. How had they found him so quickly? "Lily," he whispered urgently, shaking her awake. "We need to go, now!" The child blinked sleepily, then registered the urgency in his face. Without a word, she slipped out of bed and grabbed her backpack. The bathroom window was small, but not too small for a child and a slender adult to squeeze through. As the pounding on the door intensified, Jason helped Lily out first, then contorted himself through the narrow opening, scraping his shoulder in the process. They ran through the back parking lot just as they heard the motel room door crash open. Jason lifted Lily onto his back and sprinted toward a cluster of trees behind the motel. "How did they find us?" Lily whispered, once they'd reached the relative safety of the woods. "I don't know," Jason admitted, breathing heavily. "We left no trail." A terrible thought occurred to him. He dug through his duffel bag, sifting past diamonds until he found his burner phone. Carefully opening the back, he examined the battery compartment and found what he feared, a tiny tracking device, no larger than a grain of rice. "Michael," he muttered, realization dawning. "He's working with Victoria." It made perfect sense. Michael had been their shared attorney, handling both personal and business matters. If Victoria had turned him, or if he'd been her accomplice all along, it explained how she had executed her plan so flawlessly. Jason destroyed the phone, crushing it beneath his heel. "We need transportation, and we can't use credit cards or anything traceable." "What about the diamonds?" Lily asked. "Can't you sell one?" "Not easily. Legitimate dealers require documentation, and black market dealers aren't people we want to meet." Lily's face brightened. "My dad had a friend who owned a pawn shop. He said Mr. Goldman always gave fair prices, even for weird stuff." "A pawn shop won't give anywhere near true value for these," Jason explained, "but an idea formed. They might give enough for what we need next." After a tense hour hiking through woods, they reached a small town where Jason found a pawn shop, not Lily's Mr. Goldman, but a dingy establishment called Cash for Anything. "Wait outside," he instructed Lily, positioning her by the window where he could see her. "Don't talk to anyone." Inside, Jason selected his least valuable diamond, still worth about $300,000 retail. The owner, a heavy-set man with suspicious eyes, examined it under a loupe. "This real?" he asked, voice gruff. "Very," Jason replied, "and I need cash now, no questions asked." The negotiation was painful. The man clearly recognized the diamond's quality, but sensed Jason's desperation. Eventually, they settled on $15,000, highway robbery, but enough for their immediate needs. Back outside, Jason took Lily's hand. "First stop, disguises." At a discount department store, Jason purchased new clothing for both of them, nondescript items unlike his usual designer wear. He added hair dye for himself and glasses with non-prescription lenses. For Lily, he bought a short wig and a pink backpack to replace her worn one. "Are we playing dress-up?" Lily asked as they changed in a truck-stop bathroom. "Something like that," Jason replied, watching his dark hair turn sandy blonde in the grimy mirror. "We need to look different so we can travel without being recognized." With their new appearances and a used sedan purchased for cash from a lot that didn't ask questions, they headed west. Jason had a destination in mind, a cabin in Montana, owned through a shell corporation even Victoria didn't know about. It was his true emergency backup, purchased years ago when his company first became successful, before he'd even met Victoria. As they crossed into Ohio, Lily studied a map Jason had bought, tracing their route with her finger. "This is like when Dad and I went camping, except longer." "You went camping with your dad?" Jason asked, grateful for the conversation to distract from his darker thoughts. "Every summer," Lily nodded. "He said nature was the best classroom. We counted stars and learned constellations. Do you like stars, Jason?" The question caught him off guard. When was the last time he'd even looked at the night sky? "I used to. As a kid, I wanted to be an astronomer." What happened? What had happened? Ambition. The intoxication of success. The endless pursuit of more. "Life got complicated," he said simply. They drove in silence for a while, before Lily asked, "Are you scared?" Jason considered lying, then decided against it. "Yes, me too," she admitted. "But it's less scary with you." The simple statement hit Jason with unexpected force. This child, this brilliant, resilient child, trusted him completely, despite knowing him for less than 24 hours. The weight of that trust felt simultaneously crushing and uplifting. As evening approached, Jason's burner phone, a new one purchased with cash, rang. Only Michael had this number, and despite the betrayal, Jason answered, putting it on speaker. "You're making this worse," Michael said without preamble. "Victoria's escalating the charges. Now she's claiming the diamonds were payment in a trafficking scheme. They're painting you as part of an international ring, with the girl as evidence." Jason's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. "That's insane. There are purchase records for every stone. Records that no longer exist," Michael reminded him. "Listen, turn yourself in. I can negotiate." "Like you negotiated my location to the FBI?" Jason interrupted coldly. A pause. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The tracking device in the phone you gave me. Did Victoria pay you well, Michael? Or has this been the plan all along?" "Jason, you're paranoid. The stress is—" "Goodbye, Michael." Jason ended the call, then removed the battery from this phone as well. Beside him, Lily sat very still. "The bad lady is saying you bought me with diamonds?" she asked, her voice small but understanding beyond her years. "She's saying terrible lies because she wants the diamonds for herself," Jason explained, struggling to frame the situation appropriately for a 7-year-old. "Can't you just tell the police the truth?" "The truth is complicated now, Lily. Victoria has removed all the evidence that would prove I'm innocent. And—" he hesitated, "the fact that you're with me makes things look bad." Lily absorbed this, then asked with devastating clarity, "Is it better if I'm not with you anymore?" Jason looked at her. This child who had lost everything and still found the courage to trust again, and made his decision. "No, Lily," he said firmly, "we're in this together now. I promise to keep you safe, and I will." What he didn't say was that he had no idea how he would fulfill that promise. By nightfall, they'd reached a small town in Indiana. The news was everywhere. Gas station televisions, radio broadcasts, even newspapers in vending machines showed Jason's face, now alongside an age-progressed photo of what Lily might look like with different hair. The manhunt intensifies for tech billionaire Jason Pierce, wanted in connection with diamond trafficking and the abduction of 7-year-old Lillian Anderson, a radio announcer declared as they sat in the parked car behind a deserted strip mall. "Victoria's connections run deeper than I thought," Jason muttered, switching off the radio. Senator Lancaster, Victoria's father, was undoubtedly pulling strings to make this a high-profile case. "I'm hungry," Lily said quietly, not complaining, just stating a fact. They'd been surviving on convenience store snacks, afraid to linger in restaurants. Jason checked his watch, nearly midnight. Let's find somewhere to sleep first. We'll get a proper meal in the morning. They found a motel that advertised no ID needed in flickering neon, the kind of place that specialized in discretion for all the wrong reasons. Jason kept Lily close as they hurried to their room, ignoring the suspicious glances from other guests. Inside, Lily immediately claimed the bed furthest from the door, a habit, Jason realized, of a child who had learned to protect herself. As she sorted through her backpack, a folded piece of paper fell out. "What's that?" Jason asked. Lily unfolded it carefully, revealing a child's drawing of two stick figures, a tall one and a small one, holding hands in front of what appeared to be a house. "I drew it last night," she explained. "It's us." The simple image struck Jason with unexpected force. In the midst of this nightmare, Lily had found hope, had created a vision of what she wanted most, a home, a family. Him. "It's very good," he managed, his voice thick. Lily studied him with those perceptive eyes. "You're worried about the police finding us?" It wasn't a question. Jason nodded. "My dad said when you can't solve a problem directly, you should change how you're looking at it," Lily offered. Wisdom from a lost father. Jason considered her words. He'd been reacting, running, hiding, but Victoria was controlling the narrative. Perhaps it was time to change the perspective. "Your father was very smart," he said. "And so are you." "Smart enough to stay with you?" Lily asked, hope transparent in her voice. The question hung between them, impossible to answer honestly. Even if they somehow cleared Jason's name, what judge would grant custody of a child to a single man with no relation to her? The system wasn't built for their unique situation. Instead of answering, Jason said, "Let's get some sleep. Tomorrow will be better." But sleep eluded him. After Lily's breathing deepened into soft snores, Jason sat by the window, watching the parking lot for any suspicious movement. His mind raced with potential solutions, each more desperate than the last. Around 3 a.m., his new burner phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Check email, evidence, a friend." Jason froze. It could be a trap, another attempt to track their location, but it could also be help. Someone who believed his innocence. Using the motel's ancient desktop computer in the lobby, Jason created a temporary email account and logged in. There was a single message containing a video file. The timestamp showed it was from 3 days ago, the day Victoria had changed the vault combination. The security footage showed Victoria entering his home office, making a call on a sleek black phone, different from her usual device. "It's done," she said to someone. "The diamonds are secured, and I've planted the financial irregularities. Pierce suspects nothing. Yes, the offshore accounts are ready. No, the girl isn't an issue yet, but she'll serve our purpose when the time comes." Jason's blood ran cold. Victoria had mentioned a girl before Lily had ever entered the picture. This wasn't opportunistic. This was planned. The video ended, with Victoria smiling as she said, "By this time next week, the diamonds will be untraceable, and Pierce will be ruined. Our mutual friend in the Justice Department has guaranteed it." Jason downloaded the file to a USB drive he purchased from the motel's vending machine. This was evidence, concrete proof of a conspiracy. But who had sent it, and why? Returning to their room, Jason found Lily awake, sitting cross-legged on the bed. "I had a bad dream," she explained, "about the bad lady finding us." Jason sat beside her. "I just found something important, Lily, something that might help us." Lily's eyes widened. "Does that mean we can stop running?" "Not yet," Jason admitted. "But it's a start. The person who sent this, we need to figure out who they are." "Maybe it's someone who doesn't like the bad lady either," Lily suggested simply. Jason nodded, struck again by her clarity of thought. "That's exactly what I'm thinking." As dawn broke, Jason made a decision. They couldn't keep running aimlessly. They needed allies, resources, and a plan. "Lily," he said as she finished the breakfast bar he'd gotten from a vending machine, I need to ask you something important. Your dad, did he have any friends who might help us? Anyone he really trusted? Lily thought for a moment. His best friend was Dr. Cooper. They played chess every Thursday. Dad said Dr. Cooper was the smartest person he knew, except for me. She smiled at the memory. Do you know Dr. Cooper's first name? Where he lives? William. But Dad called him Will. He lives in Chicago. He came to Dad's funeral and told me if I ever needed anything. Her voice trailed off. Chicago. Less than 3 hours from their current location. It was risky. A major city meant more surveillance, more police. But it also meant a potential ally. Lily, I think we should try to find Dr. Cooper. Would you be okay with that? She nodded eagerly. He has a kind face, and he always brought me books about space and math. As they prepared to leave, Jason checked the news one final time. A new development sent ice through his veins. Breaking. Evidence suggests Pierce converted diamonds to cryptocurrency to fund international criminal network. FBI adds terrorism financing to charges. Victoria was escalating again, making it impossible for him to surrender without facing decades in prison. But the mention of cryptocurrency gave Jason pause. His company had developed blockchain security protocols. It was where he'd made his initial fortune. If Victoria was framing him for crypto transactions, she'd need to create a believable digital trail. And digital trails, unlike diamonds, could sometimes be traced back to their source. For the first time since this nightmare began, Jason felt a glimmer of hope. If they could find Dr. Cooper, if the mysterious ally who'd sent the video reached out again, and if Jason could expose the cryptocurrency fraud, maybe, just maybe, they could turn the tide. Looking at Lily's trusting face, he silently promised to protect her, whatever it took. Somehow, in the midst of losing everything, he'd found something unexpectedly precious, something worth fighting for beyond wealth or reputation. He just hoped they'd live long enough to see justice done. Chicago's skyline emerged through the morning haze as Jason navigated their sedan through increasing traffic. Beside him, Lily pressed her small face against the window, watching the skyscrapers grow taller. "Dad brought me here once," she said. "We went to the planetarium." Jason glanced at her, struck again by her resilience. "Do you remember where Dr. Cooper lives?" Lily shook her head, but Dad had a special book where he kept important things. Phone numbers and addresses. Do you know where that book is now? In Dad's apartment, I think, unless the "not really my aunt" took it. Jason weighed the risks. Visiting Daniel Anderson's apartment meant returning to New York, directly into the center of the manhunt, but without contact information for Dr. Cooper. Finding him in a city of millions would be nearly impossible. "Jason," Lily said suddenly, her voice brightening, "Dr. Cooper teaches at a university. Dad said he was a professor of cryptology or something with numbers. Cryptography, a specialist in encryption and security." Jason's pulse quickened. If anyone could help unravel Victoria's digital frame-up, it would be someone with that expertise. He pulled into a gas station with Wi-Fi, keeping the car running. Using his burner phone and careful not to log into any personal accounts, he searched for William Cooper Cryptography Professor Chicago. The results showed a doctor. William Cooper, Professor of Applied Cryptography and Mathematics at the University of Chicago. His faculty photo showed a man in his mid-50s with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, exactly as Lily had described. "Is this him?" Jason showed her the image. Lily nodded enthusiastically. "That's Dr. Cooper. He always wears bow ties." Dad said it was his signature look. The university website listed Cooper's office hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Today was Thursday. They had less than 3 hours to find him. "We need to change our appearances again," Jason decided. "A university campus will have surveillance cameras." At a discount store, Jason purchased oversized sunglasses for himself and a colorful headscarf for Lily. Simple disguises, but combined with their dyed hair and new clothes, they might be enough to avoid immediate recognition. As they approached the university, Jason rehearsed their cover story. "If anyone asks, you're my daughter, and we're meeting with Dr. Cooper about a special mathematics program for gifted children." Lily nodded solemnly. "That's not even a lie. Dad always said I was gifted." They parked several blocks away and walked to campus, Jason keeping a protective hand on Lily's shoulder. The mathematics department was housed in a Gothic building of weathered stone. Outside, students lounged on the lawn, enjoying the warm spring afternoon, oblivious to the fugitives in their midst. According to the directory, Dr. Cooper's office was on the third floor. As they climbed the stairs, Jason felt increasingly exposed. Academic hallways were quiet, making newcomers conspicuous. What if someone recognized them? What if Cooper himself turned them in? Room 317's door stood ajar, revealing a cluttered office lined with bookshelves. Behind a desk piled high with papers sat Dr. William Cooper, bow tie slightly askew as he peered at a computer screen. Lily broke free from Jason's grip and ran forward. "Dr. Cooper!" The professor looked up, momentarily confused, then his eyes widened in recognition. "Lily? Lily Anderson?" "Hi," she said, suddenly shy. "Do you remember me?" Cooper rose from his chair, his expression shifting from surprise to concern. "Of course I remember you. But Lily, His gaze shifted to Jason, recognition dawning. "You're Jason Pierce." Jason closed the office door behind them. "Dr. Cooper, I know how this looks, but I need you to hear me out." Cooper's eyes darted between them, then to his phone on the desk. "You're all over the news. They're saying you've kidnapped her, that you're involved in diamond trafficking." "It's not true," Lily declared before Jason could speak. "The bad lady is telling lies. Jason's trying to help me." Cooper hesitated, studying the child's earnest face. Then, unexpectedly, he nodded. "Daniel always said you were an excellent judge of character, Lily." He turned to Jason. "I've known this little girl since she was 4 years old. If she trusts you, I'm willing to listen." Relief washed over Jason. He quickly explained their situation: Victoria's betrayal, the locked vault, Lily's unexpected appearance and help, the conspiracy to frame him, and the mysterious video they'd received. As he spoke, Cooper's academic demeanor gave way to quiet anger. "Daniel was one of my dearest friends," he said when Jason finished. "After he died, I tried to check on Lily, but that woman, Rebecca, kept making excuses. When I heard Lily was missing, I feared the worst." "Can you help us?" Jason asked directly. Cooper removed his glasses, polishing them thoughtfully. "What you're describing, the cryptocurrency fraud, the manufactured evidence, this is sophisticated work. But if your ex-fiancé left any digital fingerprints, I might be able to trace them." He turned to his computer. "First, let's see exactly what they're saying about you." The news sites painted a damning picture. Victoria, tear-streaked and perfect in designer mourning clothes, described a controlling fiancé who'd become unhinged after she discovered his illegal diamond operation. The FBI had officially classified Jason as armed and dangerous. Lily was described as a trafficking victim he'd abducted to use as leverage. "She's good," Cooper muttered, playing both victim and whistleblower. "She mentioned a girl in that video before Lily ever came to my house," Jason pointed out. "She was planning this, but I don't understand how Lily fits into her scheme." Cooper's fingers flew across his keyboard. "Let me see the video." Jason inserted the USB drive. As they watched the footage again, Cooper's expression darkened. "This was sent anonymously?" he asked, rewinding to study Victoria's face. "Yes, from someone who signed as a friend." "Interesting." Cooper paused the video on Victoria's black phone. "That's not a standard consumer device. That's a ghost phone, military-grade encryption, completely untraceable. They're illegal in the US without special clearance." Jason leaned closer. "Can you trace the video? Find out who sent it?" Perhaps, but more importantly, I might be able to trace Victoria's cryptocurrency transactions if she's created them in your name. Digital forgery always leaves traces. Cooper glanced at his watch. But we can't stay here. My last student appointment is in 20 minutes. He gathered his laptop and a few external drives into a messenger bag. I have a place we can go, a research cabin about an hour north. No internet, but I won't need it once I've downloaded what we need. As they prepared to leave, Cooper knelt to Lily's level. I'm very glad you're safe. Your father would be proud of how brave you've been. Lily's eyes glistened. Do you think he'd be okay with me wanting Jason to be my new dad? The innocent question hung in the air, landing like a physical weight on Jason's chest. Cooper glanced up at him, a question in his eyes that Jason couldn't answer. I think, Cooper said carefully, that your father would want you to be safe and loved. Now let's get moving before my student arrives. As they left the office, Jason felt a strange mix of hope and dread. They had an ally now, and possibly a way to prove Victoria's conspiracy. But Lily's simple question had highlighted the impossible complexity of their situation. Even if they cleared his name, what future could he possibly offer this child? Cooper's research cabin turned out to be a surprisingly modern structure, nestled in dense woods near Lake Michigan. Solar panels lined the roof, and a small satellite dish was the only connection to the outside world. University property, he explained as they entered. Officially for environmental monitoring, unofficially my weekend retreat. No one will look for us here. While Cooper set up his equipment, Lily explored the cabin's single bedroom, delighting in the telescope positioned by the window. Jason watched her from the doorway, her innocent excitement a stark contrast to their dire circumstances. She's remarkable, Cooper said, joining him. Daniel used to say she had an old soul. What happened to her mother? Jason asked quietly. Cooper's expression darkened. Sarah was troubled. Drug addiction, mainly. She left when Lily was barely a year old. Daniel raised her alone. Did she die? No, at least not that we know of. She simply disappeared. Daniel tried to find her for years, for Lily's sake, but eventually gave up. Some people don't want to be found. Jason absorbed this information, another piece of Lily's fragmented history falling into place. And there were no relatives who could take her after Daniel died. None that Daniel ever mentioned, Cooper sighed. I offered to take her myself, but as a single man with no family connection, the system made it impossible. Rebecca was Daniel's girlfriend of just 6 months, but she lived in his apartment, so they granted her temporary guardianship. He shook his head. The system is broken. In the living room, Cooper had transformed the dining table into a makeshift command center. 3 laptops hummed in synchrony, running different analytical programs. I'm running a trace on the cryptocurrency transactions Victoria allegedly linked to you, he explained. Every blockchain transaction leaves a signature. If she created these recently, there might be patterns that prove forgery. What about the video? Jason asked. Can you tell who sent it? Cooper nodded. The metadata suggests it was extracted from your home security system. Someone with access to your servers pulled this footage specifically. Everyone at my company would have been locked out after Victoria's accusations, Jason said. The only person with override privileges would be... He stopped suddenly, a memory surfacing. Grace Chen, my head of security. She designed the system. Cooper typed the name into a search engine. Grace Chen, 42, former military cybersecurity specialist, joined Pierce Technologies 5 years ago. Impressive resume. And fiercely loyal, Jason added. When Victoria tried to recruit her to a side project last year, Grace refused. Said she worked for the company, not for Victoria. Could she be your anonymous friend? Possibly. But she'd be taking an enormous risk. Victoria would have her blacklisted throughout the industry if she found out. Cooper's computer chimed. I've got something on the cryptocurrency angle. The transactions Victoria claimed you made were actually created through a series of proxy servers. But there's a pattern. Every transaction occurred at exactly 17 minutes past the hour. 17, Jason breathed. Victoria's lucky number. And your vault code, Cooper observed. She has a pattern. That's good for us. Patterns can be tracked. As night fell, Lily finally succumbed to exhaustion, curling up on the cabin's sofa. Jason covered her with a blanket, gently tucking it around her small shoulders. She trusts you completely, Cooper observed, voice low to avoid waking her. That's not something that comes easily to a child who's experienced abandonment. Jason watched Lily's peaceful face, her long eyelashes fluttering against her cheeks as she dreamed. I don't deserve that trust. When this is over, I'll have to let her go. And where will she go? Cooper challenged gently. Back to a reluctant guardian who reported her missing only to avoid trouble. Into foster care. Before Jason could respond, Cooper's laptop emitted a soft ping. I've found something. The security footage. It's been edited. Jason moved to look over Cooper's shoulder. What do you mean? The video we have shows Victoria talking about the girl before Lily ever entered the picture, but I've been analyzing the file structure, and there are artifacts indicating manipulation. Someone spliced multiple recordings together to create a seemingly continuous clip. Jason's hope faltered. So it's fake evidence? Useless? Not necessarily, Cooper said, typing rapidly. It means someone wanted you to hear specific pieces of information. They created a narrative. He pointed to a section of code. Look here. These fragments come from different dates, but they've been carefully assembled to tell a story. Why would someone do that? To guide you without revealing themselves fully, to give you breadcrumbs. Jason paced the small living room, mind racing. So someone with access to my security system is trying to help me, but they're being cautious. They want me to discover something specific. Exactly, Cooper confirmed. And they led you to me through Lily. They knew about her connection to me. But who would know about Lily's father's friendship with you? Jason asked. Cooper's expression turned thoughtful. Not many people. Daniel was private about his personal life. Victoria certainly wouldn't know. Unless... Jason stopped pacing, a new possibility emerging. Unless Victoria was watching Daniel Anderson before he died, if she was planning something involving his daughter. But why? Cooper asked. What possible connection could Victoria have to Daniel or Lily? Before Jason could theorize further, his burner phone rang, the number blocked. He answered cautiously, putting it on speaker. Pierce. A woman's voice, distorted electronically. Do not speak. Listen carefully. Victoria Lancaster is not working alone. Her father's intelligence connections have been tracking your movements. You were followed to the university. You have approximately 20 minutes before they reach the cabin. There's a boat docked at the rear of the property. Take it north. Further instructions will follow. The call ended abruptly. Jason and Cooper exchanged alarmed glances. Do we trust this? Cooper asked. We don't have much choice, Jason replied, already moving to wake Lily. Grab what you need. We have to move. As Cooper hastily packed his equipment, Jason gently shook Lily awake. Hey, sweetheart, I'm sorry, but we need to leave. Lily blinked sleepily, then registered the urgency in his voice and was instantly alert. The bad people found us. Maybe, Jason admitted, helping her into her jacket, but we have a new plan. Outside, the night was moonless, the forest around them a wall of darkness. Cooper led them down a narrow path to a small dock where a motorboat was tethered, gently rocking in the lake's current. University property too? Jason asked as they climbed aboard. My personal toy, Cooper replied, starting the engine. I've always found water more peaceful than land. As they pulled away from the shore, Jason scanned the tree line, seeing no movement yet. Perhaps the warning had come in time. Then, in the distance, headlights appeared on the cabin's access road. Down! Cooper instructed sharply, killing the running lights. All three ducked low as the boat drifted silently into the darkness of Lake Michigan. Lily pressed against Jason's side, small body trembling slightly. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "It's going to be okay," he whispered, hoping it wasn't a lie. The boat sliced through the dark waters of Lake Michigan, running without lights to avoid detection. Lily had fallen asleep again, her head resting on Jason's lap. Cooper navigated by the dim glow of his GPS, keeping them on a steady northward course. "Who do you think called?" Cooper asked softly. "Whoever sent the video," Jason replied. "They're watching us, guiding us. But why not just tell us everything directly? Fear, perhaps, or they don't have all the pieces themselves." Cooper checked their position. "We're approaching the Wisconsin border. If we continue north, we'll reach the Upper Peninsula by morning." Jason's phone vibrated with a text message. "Dock at Miller's Marina, Kenosha. Black SUV in lot. Keys under front wheel. Drive to Green Bay. Warehouse at 1712 Harbor Way." "They're very specific," Cooper noted when Jason showed him the message. "Someone has planned this carefully." "Or it's a trap," Jason countered, the weight of paranoia pressing down after days of running. "Either way, we're running out of options and fuel," Cooper replied practically. "And I don't think Lily can handle much more of this boat ride." At Miller's Marina, the pre-dawn air hung heavy, with mist rising from the lake. As promised, a black SUV waited in the deserted parking lot, keys hidden exactly where the message indicated. "I'll come with you," Cooper decided, transferring his equipment to the vehicle. "It's too dangerous," Jason protested. "You've already risked enough." "Daniel was my oldest friend," Cooper replied firmly. "His daughter is involved. I'm seeing this through." They drove north in tense silence, Lily still sleeping in the back seat. The sunrise revealed a landscape of farmland and forests, Wisconsin awakening to a new day, oblivious to the fugitives passing through. Jason's mind raced with possibilities. Who was helping them? What waited at the warehouse in Green Bay? And most pressing, how was Victoria connected to Lily? "I've been thinking," Cooper said, breaking the silence, "about Victoria mentioning the girl before Lily appeared." "You said that footage was manipulated," Jason reminded him. "Yes, but consider this. What if Victoria was referring to a different girl, a different child she planned to use in her scheme?" Jason frowned. "What scheme could possibly involve a child?" "I don't know," Cooper admitted, "but there might be a connection we're missing." As they approached Green Bay, Jason navigated to Harbor Way, an industrial area near the docks. Warehouse 1712 was a nondescript building with faded numbering on its metal door. "Stay in the car with Lily," Jason instructed Cooper. "If I'm not back in 5 minutes, or if anything seems wrong, drive away, get her somewhere safe." Cooper nodded grimly, one hand moving to the inside pocket of his jacket. He withdrew a small pistol. "Daniel gave me this years ago when I was receiving threats over my encryption research. I've never fired it outside a range, but—" Jason nodded in understanding. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." The warehouse door was unlocked. Inside, the space was cavernous and mostly empty, dust motes dancing in the shafts of light from high windows. In the center stood a single desk, with a laptop computer, its screen glowing in the dimness. As Jason approached, the laptop initiated a video call. He accepted warily. A woman's face appeared, her features obscured by digital distortion. "Mr. Pierce, you've made it." "Who are you?" Jason demanded. "What do you want?" "A mutual enemy makes us allies," the woman replied. "Victoria Lancaster has destroyed many lives before yours. I'm merely evening the odds." "You know about the diamonds, about her scheme?" "The diamonds are just the beginning," the woman said. "Victoria's father, Senator Lancaster, is involved in something much larger. International diamonds, cryptocurrency. They're laundering money for operations I can't discuss over this connection." "And Lily? How does she fit into this?" The woman hesitated. "Bring Dr. Cooper inside. There's something you both need to see." Jason returned to the car, signaling Cooper to join him. They left Lily sleeping, locked safely in the vehicle they could see through the warehouse windows. Inside, the woman was still waiting on screen. "Dr. Cooper, I've studied your work on cryptographic ethics. Impressive." Cooper nodded cautiously. "Thank you. Now please explain what's happening." She tapped something on her keyboard, and a document appeared beside her video window. "Daniel Anderson's death certificate. Note the cause. Heart attack," Cooper read. "That's what we were told. Now look at his toxicology report." A second document appeared. Cooper's face drained of color as he read. "This shows lethal levels of potassium chloride. That's murder," the woman finished. "Untraceable unless specifically tested for. The kind of sophisticated hit arranged by people with resources and connections." "Daniel was murdered?" Cooper's voice shook with shock and rage. "But why? He was a math teacher, for God's sake." The digitally obscured woman on screen nodded gravely. "Because of what he discovered while tutoring Senator Lancaster's son last summer." Jason and Cooper exchanged bewildered glances. "What could a math teacher possibly discover that would warrant murder?" Jason asked. "The senator's son, Thomas, has a learning disability. Daniel was brought in as a specialized tutor. During their sessions at the Lancaster estate, Daniel accidentally accessed financial records on the senator's home computer, records showing massive diamond purchases through shell companies, all tied to accounts in countries with known terrorist connections." Cooper sank into the chair beside the desk. "Daniel never mentioned tutoring a senator's son. He was made to sign extensive non-disclosure agreements, but according to my information, he recognized something was wrong and began gathering evidence. That's when Victoria was assigned to get close to him." Jason felt sick. Victoria was dating Lily's father. As what? A spy. Precisely. Victoria Lancaster is more than a socialite. She's an operative in her father's criminal network. Her job was to determine what Daniel knew and retrieve any evidence. When she confirmed he had documentation, the order was given. "And Lily?" Jason asked, dreading the answer. "Collateral damage. Victoria was supposed to ensure any evidence died with Daniel, but she suspected the child might know something or have access to her father's records. Victoria maintained her cover as grieving girlfriend, gaining guardianship of Lily to search for whatever Daniel might have hidden." Cooper's face hardened. "Then why did she report Lily missing? Why the Amber Alert?" "Because Lily ran away before Victoria could extract what she needed. The alert was genuine. Victoria was desperate to find her. But then something unexpected happened." The woman's distorted gaze shifted to Jason. "Lily found you." "By accident," Jason protested. "She just happened to break into my estate." "There are no accidents in this story, Mr. Pierce. Daniel Anderson tutored your business competitors' children too. He knew who you were, knew your reputation as the ethical billionaire. In the weeks before his death, he told Lily that if anything happened to him, she should find Jason Pierce." Jason felt the room tilt slightly. "That's impossible. Why wouldn't she have told me this? She's 7 years old, traumatized by her father's death and months with his killer. The specific memory may be buried, but she followed her father's last instruction instinctively. It made a horrible kind of sense. Lily's appearance at his estate, her immediate trust in him, her uncanny ability to open the vault as if she'd been prepared. "What was Victoria planning to do with my diamonds?" Jason asked. "Convert them to untraceable funds for her father's operations. Your reputation made you the perfect scapegoat when the transactions were eventually discovered. The original plan was to frame you gradually, but when you caught her transferring assets, she accelerated the timeline." Cooper leaned forward. "Who are you? How do you know all this?" The woman's distorted image seemed to hesitate. "I worked for them once. I believed in the cause until I saw what they were willing to do, who they were willing to sacrifice. Grace Chen, Jason guessed. My head of security. The digital distortion cleared, revealing Grace's face. I'm sorry I couldn't help you more directly. They're watching everyone connected to you. What do we do now? Jason asked. We have no proof that would stand in court. Victoria has erased or altered every record. Not every record, Grace replied. Daniel Anderson hid his evidence somewhere only his daughter could find it. That's what Victoria has been searching for. Both men turned toward the window, looking at the sleeping child in the car outside. We can't involve her in this, Jason said firmly. She's been through enough. She's already involved, Grace countered. Has been since her father was murdered. The question now is whether we can protect her while finding what her father hid. Cooper studied the toxicology report on screen. These people killed my friend and tried to use his daughter. I won't let them get away with it. Jason thought about Lily, her intelligence, her courage, her unwavering trust in him despite everything. He thought about her simple drawing of the two of them holding hands in front of a house, a family, a future that seemed impossible. We need to end this, he decided, not just for me or the diamonds, but for Lily. She deserves justice for her father, and a chance at a real home. Grace nodded approvingly. There's a safe house near Traverse City, Michigan. I've arranged transportation. Once there, we can work with Lily to determine what her father might have hidden and where. As they prepared to leave, Jason looked once more at Lily through the window. For the first time since this nightmare began, he felt something beyond fear or desperation. He felt purpose. This brilliant child who had saved him now needed saving in return. Whatever it took, whatever the cost, he would protect her. And somehow, against all odds, he would find a way to keep his unspoken promise, to give her the home and family she deserved, even if it meant confronting a corrupt senator, his deadly daughter, and their entire criminal network, even if it meant risking everything he had left. For Lily, it would be worth it.